So, ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to be doing another unique video based on fame and how can you see if somebody will achieve fame and what kind of a fame will you have? How will you be known as in society? So when you die, what will people think of you and how wide your fame will expand? I have made a video on fame on YouTube. I think I made it last year, in the beginning of last year, on fame and Vedic astrology. Today I'm going to tell you exactly what type of a fame you might get. Okay? And oh my God, I think I need water. So before I even get started on this, if you need to know where your planetary placements are once you watch this video and want to see what kind of fame you're going to receive, for that, check out the links here and check out my full astrological report, including my books, Astrology, Conjunction, and Aspects of the Speed of Light, that will tell you, all the planetary alignment in your horoscope. So, fame. As you know, there are certain houses in astrology that signify fame. The number one most important house is actually the first house, which is you. Okay? You are being exposed to the world. So first house is always the number one house when it comes to fame. Then there are three other houses. There are two other really most prominent houses regarding fame, which are 7th house and 10th house. Although I say the 5th house, but it is really the 7th and the 10th house that become the catalyst of the 5th house. Because the 5th house really shows, like actors, actresses, your, regular film stars. But 7th house is a house of fame because it represents the masses. It represents other people that you that you interact with, other people that know you. Okay, and the 10th house is your image into the society. Because the 10th house is the very highest point in the sky. It is where the sun is during the noontime. So always above the sky, that is always the 10th house. Which is what? Why is it the house of fame? Because everybody looks up when they get outside. Even when you're driving, you're somehow looking up at the stars. When you go outside, you look up at the sky where the sun is. And the sun brightens everything during the noontime. So this is why that 10th house is known as a house of fame. Okay. Now, there are certain things in Vedic astrology that kind of tell you, if you're going to be famous or not. And for that, we not only use the regular Vedic astrological chart or your basic, even Western astrological chart. Because everybody I have seen thousands of charts in my lifetime where people have planets in their 10th house, planets in their 7th house. They go through the Mahadasha or the time period of the 10th house, 7th house, even 5th house or the ascendant. Yet, where is the fame? Okay, so we're going to talk about how exactly do you determine if somebody's going to be famous and what kind of fame will you have. For this, you have to know, again, the concept of Arudha Lagna. Arudha Lagna is a bit of an advanced concept in Vedic astrology where you calculate your ascendant, your illusionary ascendant. Your ascendant or your personality or your what your face value is to the world. That's what Arudha Lagna is. Your illusionary face value. Okay, like let's say we look at Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise face value is he's this actor. He's this great action superstar. But if people who intimately know him will probably know him as an actor, businessman, Scientologist, father, probably a very ruthless businessman who knows how to get the deals done. This is why he's worth hundreds and millions of dollars. So this is what we're going to see. What is the illusionary world thinks of him or thinks of you? So as I said last time, if you want to know how to calculate your Arudha Lagna, for that, check out the links below in the description section or just type in Arudha Lagna on YouTube, ARUDHA and LAGNA, Lagna, meaning ascendant, your illusionary self. So in Arudha Lagna, when certain planets come into the first house or the 7th house axis, That's how you're really going to be known into the world. And when you go through your Mahadasha of a planet that is in the first or the seventh axis of your Arudha Lagna or the 10th house of your Arudha Lagna, that's when a person really gets their illusionary fame, expanded. Because remember, fame is an illusion. Fame, as much as people want to run after it, as I used to at one point, like I wanted to be the biggest actor and film director out there. Now I could care less. Even if I have the means to now even get the best camera and make the movie, I probably will, but it's not, that urge is no longer there because I realized what exactly fame does. I realized what exactly I am, who I am. And once I realized who I am, I didn't care about this appreciation of the world, didn't care about, being in the news and magazines. For me, YouTube is good enough, okay? So when certain planets come into the first, 7th, or 10th axis, and you go through the Mahadasha of those planets, that is when you really get your illusionary fame expanded. Like people get clouded and the world gets clouded with you and respect you, whether you should be respected or not. Okay. So we're going to discuss when certain planets come in, how is it that what kind of fame do they give you in your life? But any planet, sitting in the ascendant or the 7th house, especially, even the 10th house, I would say, becomes more of a fame of the society. Meaning you're just known in your society. Meaning your neighborhood, your colleagues, your close area that, oh yeah, like he's a famous lawyer. Oh yeah, go to him. Or, go to him. He's a great businessman. He's a great real estate agent. Everybody knows him in the area. That's what really the 10th house is mainly. Okay, but 7th house deals with the masses. 7th house deals with like millions of people, hundreds and thousands of people. And the first house is pretty much everybody looks at you. 7th house is more you're exposing yourself to the world. You're purposely exposing yourself to the world because the ascendant or the planets in the 7th house is making you go towards other people. Where the first house, automatically people start recognizing you, something you have done in your life. So first house becomes a very easy form of fame. 7th house becomes a secondary, but also just as good of a fame. So let's discuss when certain planets come to this in this house, how are you going to be known as? So let's say you calculated your Arudha Lagna and Sun came into the very first house or the 7th house or a little bit of 10th house. How will people know you? People will know you and recognize you as an authoritative figure. Somebody who has authority in the field that they're in or the field that they're in famous for. Whether you're a politician, whether you're an actor, whether you're a lawyer, a real estate agent, or an astrologer, anything that you are good at and whatever the catalyst of your fame is, you're going to be known as the king of that field. You're going to be known as this authoritative figure of this field. People will respect you like the king. Like, oh my God, that guy, man, he is the one or she is the one. She knows what she's doing or he knows what he's doing. And if I need anybody to, have any say in this field, it's got to be them. That is Sun. Sun does that because Sun is an automatic authority figure. He's the king. So when he comes into your Arudha Lagna ascendant or the 7th house, you become this king of other people. You become the king. You are ruling that as an illusionary thing. You are ruling that thing or the career that you're in. So here's the thing. Like there's a lot of these famous lawyers that came about in O.J. Simpson trial. I'm sure everybody knows O.J. Simpson, even in India. Okay. And I forgot the name of his attorney. He was an African-American attorney who died of a brain tumor, Johnny Cochran, I think. Okay. Now, everybody knows Johnny Cochran as the man to go to when you get into some legal shit, when you get into some legal trouble. Because of the fact that illusionary figure of Johnny Cochran shows it as a king of lawyers who knows, how to deal with a certain thing. So if you have a lot of money and you get charged with killing someone, first thing people are going to do, let me call Johnny Cochran. Why? Because the illusionary field of Johnny Cochran's Arudha Lagna had Sun. in the ascendant. So they like, oh yeah, this guy is the main attorney for criminal cases. And I don't really necessarily, I'm saying just Johnny Cochran. It could be anything. It could be a real estate agent. I'm sure you see all these HGTV and all these real estate shows now. Okay, and the number one right now is either Property Brothers or Listed or something. I think the Property Brothers are, and I think I checked on one of the Property Brothers, pretty much they're through their even Karakamsha Lagna, and the sun was in the ascendant. So sun just makes you, no matter what field you're in, you can be a carpenter, an artist, a painter, you can be a cook. You'll just be known as the Martha Stewart of that person. Martha Stewart, or not even like Emerald Lagasse in food. Emerald Lagasse is the number one, most famous, not number one, most famous chef out there. Now, illusionary, he is the biggest chef. But in reality, there are other much better than him. But because of the fact he has this Arudha Lagna of being the king of chef, people respect him as the king. So sun does this. Okay. Let's say if you have moon. Moon is in the ascendant or the 7th house. It shows somebody who's very pure and nourishing. Somebody who embraced the world in their hand and did something good for the society. And that's how people will remember you. That's how you will get famous. And I'm going to tell you at the end how exactly to see the mass of fame. But moon shows somebody who's a motherly figure, who's out there to protect you, who's out there to, show you the way, pretty much. Who shows, no, let's do this way. Let's do it right. Or let me fix something in society, because moon is actually society, like as in local governments. Pretty much sun is a federal government, moon is a local government. You do something on a smaller scale, maybe in your state, you pass some legislation and you brought about, the numbers of poverty down. You did something like the moon would do. You kind of embraced everybody and you nourished people. You nourished poor people. So you're going to be known as this, this very motherly, Mother Teresa type figure. Let's say Mars. Mars controls your 1st or 7th house. Or Mars, as in Mars sitting in the 1st or 7th house of your Arudha Lagna. People are going to know you as a fighter. Whether a good fighter or a bad fighter, that depends on the dignity of Mars, as in the sign placement of Mars. And what aspects Mars receive. But people will know like, oh my God, yeah, that guy was just somebody to fear. Meaning Hitler can be that fierce figure. That he was this fighter. Now he was a bad fighter, but he was a fighter. Mahatma Gandhi, fighter, but a good type of fighter. Let's say Mike Tyson, fighter. People know him as a fighter and people are like, shit, I know who he is, he's famous, but if I ever get into a bar fight where he's standing right next to me and he gets into a fight, I'm running away from him because I know how his punches are. So this is what Mars does. He becomes this really general than crew type of fame he gives you. Let's say Mercury sits in your ascendant or your 7th house of Arudha Lagna. What Mercury will show is that this person is a great businessman. This person knows how to make deals. Their fame will be regarding their business, regarding their communication skills. Like Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs was known as a great communicator. He knew how to capture the audience. That's how your fame is going to be. Like this guy knows how to talk his way into things. This girl knows how to make a deal. This lady just can capture the crowd and really move the crowd. Somebody like Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins actually does have his Arudha Lagna in the 7th house, if I'm not mistaken. But that's how you're known as. You're known as this great communicator. You are this great businessman who can make all the deals, and you're just, really good about, making things better in society through business deals. Mercury will also make you known as a mimicking actor, meaning that, oh my God, this guy is such a character. Like this person will have their own personality And usually these people, whenever they become actors, they're able to mimic other things. Like Jim Carrey has done many characters. Or somebody like, I remember this guy in India named, this Shrivastava guy, my own cast. His name is Arjun Shrivastava or Amit Shrivastava. He does all these mimicking of all the actors from Amitabh Bachchan to Shah Rukh Khan. That's Mercury kind of fame. You're going to be known as for your mimicking skills, which is Mercury is known for. Let's say Venus is in your first or seventh house. You're going to be known as the actor, the artist, the person who beautified their industry. So no matter, even if you're in real estate, law, you're going to be known as this figure of beauty. You're going to be known as this figure of entertainment. Somebody who just energized and lit up the world with their artistic talent. That's Venus's job. They'll be known as, if it happens in a guy's chart, they'll be known as the ladies' man, like Hugh Hefner. And that's how their fame is going to spread. This feminine person, or this person who deals with a lot of female entertainment, art, luxury, things of sensual pleasures. Whenever you think of this person, you think of money, pleasure, entertainment, and art. Jupiter, let's say Jupiter is in your first or seventh house, you're going to be known as this great guide. You're going to be known as this great teacher. You're going to be known as this great guru, meaning that you are the best advisor out there. So even if you're, let's say, a cook, or you are a computer engineer, you're going to be known in your society and in the world as, man, this guy just gave the best advice. He knew, he had the knowledge. And Jupiter is actually very powerful in terms of fame. Because when you provide knowledge to the world, you are bringing up societies. And societies respect people of knowledge, people of Jupiterian things, more than Venus or Mercury, or, not so Mercury, because Mercury does change a lot of things. It's also an advisor and a counselor, but more than even Mars or Moon or Sun, because these people, they lit up the world with knowledge. So, let's say Einstein, let's say, Michael Faraday, or Nikola Tesla, Edison. People just know them. Like, you don't need to watch Bollywood movies, to know Nikola Tesla. You don't need to know Bollywood movies to know who Edison is, Michael Faraday is, or Einstein is. But you do need to watch Bollywood movies to know who Amitabh Bachchan is, to know who Shah Rukh Khan is. This is why I feel Jupiter becomes a very important planet of fame, because Jupiter also expands. Okay, let's say Saturn comes into the first and seventh axis. You're going to be known as the person of the people. You're going to be known as this great politician. You're going to be known as the person who went to the most impoverished level and held everybody, like Princess Diana. Somebody who's not afraid to go to the poor people, somebody who's not afraid to fight for the poor people, somebody who's not afraid to fight for the masses who vote. And who are the masses who vote in all the countries? Poor people, even in the United States. Poor people are the ones who are going out and really voting. People who are smart, like Jupiter, know voting doesn't do shit. Because some of these presidents are selected, not elected. Remember that. Anywhere in the world. If you're any smart, your vote literally doesn't mean anything. But for the poor people, they think by voting, it's getting to them. So Saturn makes sure this person becomes a great politician. This person becomes this law-abiding citizen who helped the world, who was there for the poor people, who was there for the masses. Let's say Rahu controls your first or seventh house axis in Arudha Lagna. You're going to be known as this great actor, this great magician, this great personality who was this worldly personality, because Rahu is the number one planet who goes after fame, who wants to be famous for something. And these are the people who become famous for perhaps no talent, who becomes famous for probably no qualities unless there's some other planet supporting it. Rahu is this hunger, of this planet of hunger who devours fame. Okay, I need more fame. I need more fame. Like, how even if they're actors, there's some actors who had their time. But because they're so addicted to fame, they'll make sex tapes. They'll do drugs. They'll get caught for DUI purposely. They'll say something on Twitter or Facebook to stir up, TMZ or things like that, and they want to just get their attention. Rahu is an attention-seeking person in the first and seventh axis. And Ketu is that one planet that actually takes you away from fame. If you have Ketu in the first or seventh axis, shows that this person is not interested in getting fame. They may get fame if support of other planet is there, but they'll be those personalities that are more be known for as a spiritual person like Buddha, spiritual person as Osho Rajneesh, or somebody of, great saint value. Like this person just was this enlightened person. You're going to be known as this enlightened person who actually does not want fame, but may get fame because of the fact they might be providing things related to Jupiter, knowledge. Okay, so this is how you judge how your fame is going to be. Now, even in your birth horoscope, not even Arudha Lagna, you can even judge these things from the first and seventh house axis in your birth horoscope, but really it is the Arudha Lagna that really expands the true side of the fame. And in order to really judge the fame, okay, this is another secret of astrology, is that you have to look at the nakshatra lord that the planet is sitting in. You might have Jupiter in the ascendant or in the seventh house. You may not be known as the guru or the knowledge of something, because if Jupiter is in the nakshatra of Venus, you may actually be known as a person of acting talent, artistic talent, beauty. Okay, but you will be known as a person who knows all the knowledge about beauty, all the knowledge about fashion, all the knowledge about the entertainment industry. So also look at that, because that will really define the kind of fame you can have. Like you may have Venus in the first and seventh axis, but if Venus is in the nakshatra of Jupiter or Venus is in the nakshatra of Saturn, will show that your fame will come from being this great entertainer who provided information to the masses, who was there for the poor, who was there for the people who were uninformed, and he wanted to help them. So not only look at the first and seventh axis, but look at the nakshatra. That is how, because remember, planets are fulfilling the promise of the nakshatra. And planets are also changing their personality. Not only do they wear the coat of the sign that the planet sit in, but their undershirt, this undershirt, is of the nakshatra. This is really what makes me feel comfortable. If I just wear this jacket, let's say jacket of Pisces, I will feel uncomfortable, man, if I go outside. I need an undershirt. I need the nakshatra. So if the nakshatra is of Revati, of Mercury, that's what I really feel like internally, because it really makes me feel more comfortable. The coat is just the outer impression to the people. So the sign and the Arudha Lagna, kind of the same thing. They become this outer shell. But to really judge the the true dignity of a person's fame, look at the nakshatra too. But who will get mass fame and little fame? That will depend on the exaltation, debilitation, Multrikon sign of the planet, first of all. And then you have to see their position in the Arudha Padha of the Dasamsha chart. What is the Arudha Padha of the Dasamsha chart? Meaning that you look at the Arudha Lagna of your Dasamsha. Every ascendant can have Dasamsha chart. But Dasamsha chart, the D10 chart, is the house of your career. That shows ups and downs in career. That shows your image into the world. Now the Arudha of that, when that axis comes into that as well, that will be also become a more prominent part of your fame. Like Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs is known as the king of tech, king of Silicon Valley. But he's also known as the spiritual advisor to Apple. He's also known as this great businessman. So you see how many titles Steve Jobs wears. After his death or during his life, he was known as these multiple things. But ultimately, he was a whole of all these things. So at the same time, you are the whole of your D1, your Arudha Lagna in the D1, and the Arudha Lagna of the Dasamsha, which is your vocation, what people, your image into the world. So look at that, mash those up, and that's how you determine what this person is going to be like. Okay, So guys, this is my analysis of fame in Vedic astrology through Arudha Lagna. And also I forgot to mention, look out for the Mahadasha of the planet, or the planet of the nakshatra who the planet sits in, for that fame to really come about. Okay? So anyway, if you're new to my channel, subscribe below. And if you want to get your, Arudha Lagna and your birth chart for that, check out the links here. Otherwise, we'll see you tomorrow with 5th Lord in the 3rd house. Bye-bye.